A mechanic needs a reason. It can be power, progression, mastery, curiosity, fear of losing something, but without reason it becomes decoration. Assassin's Creed used to have one: the animus, the mystery, the need to uncover something bigger. But since 2017 that foundation is gone. So every new installment has to find a new reason. Now imagine this game without a story. No revenge, no mysterious box, no masked villains. Would you still play it? Because after 22 hours, that's exactly what I started asking myself. Today, we move through Assassin's Creed Shadow's story, but we test one thing: if the story disappears, do the systems survive? Hi, it's Vowen01. We just finished the prologue. We finally know who we play as: Naue. Her father is killed by a group of masked figures. They steal the box she swore to protect. Our goal is simple: avenge the father, get the box back. That's the engine. And it takes roughly 22 hours, about 10 real calendar days of play, to reach some meaningful progress in the story of Act 1. So let's see what fills those 22 hours. We move to our family's friend, the one who saved us. That's where first side activity introduced. Here we can build, upgrade facilities. On paper, it looks like a serious progression system, something like Black Flag's ship upgrades or Valhalla settlement building. So I thought, this is where the green lives. But in Black Flag, upgrading the ship meant you could defeat stronger ships and green further, defeat boss-like ships and unravel more story. But here, it's a different story. Once you loot gear, it drops at your level. Any reason to upgrade the settlement is to upgrade the gear, to level the gear to your current level. The blacksmith upgrades are cheap. They unlock easily. Basically, there is no other reason to do anything with the settlement. So there is no tension. And without tension, there is no desire to build. No new mechanics. Maybe if upgrades were harder, more expensive, or provide new interesting mechanic, maybe then it would matter. But as it stands, if there was no story pushing you forward, this system alone wouldn't carry you. By the way, let's talk about weapons. I played during Christmas. There is a box in the settlement, the Christmas present. And yes, seasonal items are fun to see. For 5 minutes at most. But imagine this, you get a festive boss stuff. It's stronger than almost everything you find. Not extremely overpowered, which is good, but strong enough. And there are barely other weapons of that type early on. You can't properly change its appearance. Transmog options are limited. So for dozens of hours, you're hunting your father's killers with a holiday stick, throwing you out of the world's aesthetics. Yes, you can hide it, but that's not the point. It's the developer's job to set immersion rules. This isn't an MMO where everyone is in endgame chaos, where it is acceptable to see a Christmas reindeer. Thank God they didn't do that, didn't they? Oh no, they did. With extra bells sound that is simply unbearable to listen. This is supposed to be a ground experience. The bow isn't broken, it's just strong enough to kill the loot chase. In previous Assassin's Creed games, searching for armor felt rewarding, especially because mechanics were diverse. Here, Once you assemble a working build, you can finish the game without touching it again. Difficulty scales non-linearly. It has a clear step in a difficulty. At some point, you need proper gear, but once you get it, you're done. There is no variability, no rare build-defining piece locked deeper in the game. On paper, systems look diverse. In reality, they follow the same pattern. And again, if there was no revenge arc, would you grind gear for its own sake? No reason to search for more gear if it's all the same. We move forward. Those two mechanics are weak because they lost a key ingredient, reason. But the quest map is actually well done. Clear, easy to navigate. After the confusing prologue, it feels structured. You always know where to go. That's good. But there is a hidden cost. You see how many bosses remain. You can estimate how much game is left. So instead of feeling like a journey, it becomes a task list, a chore. Imagine if the game allowed false endings. You defeat a major target and think, this is it. The rush builds. But here, the UI tells you, no, there are 9 more. So the structure becomes visible. 4 small quests, 1 boss, same pattern. Where is the box? I don't have it. I won't tell. Repeat. And because you can't count remaining targets, the mystery evaporates. While the quest map gives you enough reason to not get lost, the main quest has its own problems. There is the strangest pacing decisions. To reach the first boss woman who attacked us earlier, you don't storm a fortress. You choose a dress. You learn tea ceremony etiquette. I understand what they wanted. Culture, tradition, subtle infiltration, but you're chasing your father's killers. And suddenly you're debating silk patterns. That kills momentum. It stops being an action game. It becomes a dialogue choice mini-game. Maybe this should have been a cutscene. Maybe action should have been woven into it. Eventually, we identify her, we kill her, and then nothing escalates. No major revelation, no new strong lead. Let's be honest, at this point, I was lost in the story. There was no one that would explain the prologue for me, but now I see that they made a great decision. We are no one in this world. We kill 1 boss because we found her by chance. No more leads. The lead will wait us at our friend's home. But the story at this point doesn't hook. That's why I'm trying to find something interesting in side activities. It was the main story type of quest. There are 3 quest types: main story, kill X contractors, and real side quests with narrative depth. But the game rarely tells you which is which. So sometimes you invest emotionally in what turns out to be a filler contract. And sometimes the ending of the real interesting quest is locked behind level walls. For instance, there is a side quest about bandits adored by children. Kids see them as heroes fighting for freedom. In reality, they are thieves and murderers. But opposed to the main quest, which after original prologue left you confused, now you have a clear mission. The father of a girl asks you to eliminate them. That's interesting morally. Finding them was fun. The final 3 targets could be approached flexibly, one by one or all together. That freedom felt good. But then level scaling interferes. Their levels increase faster than yours. You can't finish the quest naturally. You're forced to abandon it and return much later, which ruins the emotional thread. You simply forget the quest after real-world days of game. But we need to talk about scouts. The problem that follows any quest. A minor thing, but major time waste. I can imagine that on paper they wanted to go all in with Ninja. Scouts are used to locate exact quest marker. This mechanic should have supported housing. By upgrading the base, we would get more scouts. But in reality, I had so much money that I could just spam all I want. Scouts are infinite since money is not a problem here. No point to help people on the road to get extra scout. I can simply buy for nothing. Extra clicks, UI friction, is that a mechanic sounds fun or simply redundant? But as for other mechanics that should be supported, parkour, it should be supported by gear. Why? Because you would unlock gear by reaching hidden chests. They are similar in concept to Ghost of Yori. Difficulty is comparable, but in Ghost of Yori, encounters felt longer, more memorable. Here you climb open chests, collect loot, but armor isn't something you're excited to chase. If loot variety were greater, these would feel meaningful. Instead, they feel like an activity slapped on top of the core game. Since the reason to loot new gear is zero, this one also nearly zero. Rarely interesting route on its own captivating enough. Castles resemble Odyssey, but bigger. Much bigger. Not only in size, but in time. A medium castle can take up to 2 hours to clear fully. For me, that's a bit too long. And you can't even truly claim or permanently clear them. As for the reason, there is two. First, the gear you can loot. Second is loot for the settlement upgrade. Third reason might be to claim the castle, but you can't. Since both reasons are nearly not interesting. The castles work, but when you're in the mood just to enjoy the experience, and it is great, especially because of the alarm bell mechanic. If you go berserk like a Greek warrior in Odyssey and ignore bells, you trigger alarms. And then elite warriors hunt you across the region for a long time. That mechanic forces stealth, and for someone like me who naturally wants to fight, it's annoying in a good way. This system shines, bravo! But the fallen castles don't influence on the world or the story. For instance, it would be fun to weaken the Oda Nobunaga, the lord that attacked our homeland. Oh, but that's a good time to return to home, where we eventually get a message intercepted from one of Oda Nobunaga's commanders to us. To us? It's a trap, surely. He claims Nobunaga is behind the mask. We should suspect he's the leader, but we already know he isn't. The map spoiled 9 more bosses. Still, we attack his keep. We ask the classic question, where is the box? From Naoya's perspective, it makes sense. But Nobunaga is trying to unite Japan. Why would he care about a random box in the forest? Unless it's some Apple of Eden level weapon, which he doesn't even know about. We defeat him, and then, after 22 hours of gameplay, after 10 real-world days, Yasuke appears again! We almost forgot him. In the next part, we will know how this one ended. For now, just imagine, if not promos with the Black Samurai, would you even recall who is that? The narrative still struggles to hook us. We must rely on side activities. There are scroll collections, quite similar to the one from any collectible in the series. But here they level talents and don't expand lore or intrigue with mystery. Reason? Yep, clear one. But I don't find it as fun as Shanti from Black Flag Part. Firstly, Shanti let me experience more songs, the actual thing that I used. Shanti were a fantastic experience. Secondly, there was a question, what would be if I collect all of them? As for other collectibles, there is Animus currency, but no meaningful narrative associated with Animus or outside world. It's just another way to buy gear, the gear that isn't dramatically different. As a result, we get a weak loop, settlement, gear, castle, side quests, Animus currency. But if you think that I'm asking too much, let's imagine how it can be improved. But before we go further, please subscribe. It takes one click. For you a second, for me, instant synchronization and massive boost of happiness. You may think that I want to let the character claim the castles. But it won't work. It will ruin the setting. We are nowhere. We are not Lord Oda Nobunaga. We must come up with something else. But we already have our own castle. It's our settlement. Let the enemies do the same thing as you do to the castle. Let them destroy your base, even to the ground. Let them loot the resources. Suddenly, you have a very strong reason to be on your base, to protect it with buildings, to improve it, to get more resources. And even companions and so-called brotherhood matters. They defend the base with you. It's not that hard to develop. You just need to balance it right, so I would feel a real pressure and threat. And don't be afraid that I will run away in tears because I'm lost something. The same loop, settlement, gear, castle, side quests, Animus currency, now works. You need settlement to increase the level of the gear. You can't afford to be without one. And you need to play with base, not just drop few buildings. Better design of the base. Increased numbers of scouts means more of them will defend the base. You need side quests to farm resources and find new companions. You need castles for a gear and now truly valuable resources, since we need much more buildings. Animus currency can unlock some perks for the base. And as a cherry on top, the bells mechanic that alerts elite warriors will work even better. Why? Because if you trigger that, you can simply change the season, and now you're not wanted. But if changing the season meant that you will be attacked even multiple times, you would think twice. Bigger threat, you need to be more stealthy. This game would even feel like an Assassin's Creed series, not just named like one. So let's return to the question. If the game had no story at all, would housing carry it? Would gear progression? Would contracts and parkour? Castles? Might. Stealth tension? Might. But these are the systems that rely on a weak base that has no reasons. Like housing, like gear, without narrative, side activities alone, struggle. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe something that felt like a chore to me felt like a blessing to you. Drop a comment below which side activity worked for you. Next time, we'll talk about Yasuke's part in this story. Why he's not just a male or female skin swap. Why he actually matters and where the implementation still struggles. See you there. See ya.